Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. The government defends pay raises, saying this is not an election ploy. As the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce says, they need more information from the BNSI to determine what a minimum wage should be. An official sees a vessel and arrests 3 or 4 alleged poaching. Plus, as the Davis celebrates 4 years in office, we are getting a perspective from the opposition. F&M St. Anne's MP Adrian White will be joining us. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way? Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, September 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan, Duquessadine on vacation today. Also this morning in business, we're talking with the Small Business Development Center, the Young Entrepreneurs Academy. We'll get all the details about that. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the government's rollout of salary increases for civil servants is not an election ploy, according to Minister of Public Service Pia Glover-Roll. Back in June, Prime Minister Philip Davis announced that public servants across all levels were slated to receive pay raises this year, one at the end of June and the other in September. On Sunday, the government announced that civil servants who missed the previous adjustments will receive raises in December, retroactive to September 1st. While at a teacher's appreciation breakfast yesterday, Glover-Roll was asked if the timing of the increases has anything to do with the upcoming election slated for next year. Glover saying no, quote, "You know about the process. People can go back and see where we have said this is what we will do." Meanwhile, the head of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, Peter Gowdy, telling Guardian Business that the Chamber needs the latest information from the Bahamas National Statistical Institute in order to make an informed judgment on an increase for the national minimum wage. Gowdy responding to Glover-Roll, who said that the government will move forward with an increase in the minimum wage in a responsible way. He said he's encouraged by Roll's approach to the possible increase and comments positively. A foreign vessel allegedly engaged in illegal charter fishing was seized and 3 people arrested as part of an operation in the Berry Islands carried out under Operation Red Dawn 2, a multi-agency marine law enforcement initiative. Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources Jomo Campbell said the occupants of the vessel were operating in breach of the Fisheries Act, Registration Act, and other related marine laws. The case has been referred to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution for further legal proceedings. A 62-year-old man accused of raping and indecently assaulting a 71-year-old woman has been remanded to prison. Prosecutors allege that Austin Williams committed the crimes on September 8th in New Providence. Williams, who is represented by Kevon Maynard, was not required to enter pleas to the charges when he made his first court appearance before Magistrate Abigail Farrington. He was denied bail because the magistrate lacks the authority to consider bail for the offenses. However, he was advised of his right to seek bail in the Supreme Court. The matter is adjourned to January 20th, 2026. 50-year-old Christopher Bain also appeared before a rape charge. He's accused of rape of a 19-year-old woman in New Providence on September 14th. Bain was not required to enter plea to the charge. He was denied bail and also returns to court on January 20th next year. A 2023 armed robbery case is still pending after days of testimony ended in a mistrial on Monday. Justice Franklin Williams declared a mistrial after jurors were unable to reach a decision on the guilt or innocence of Ronaldo Util. The matter has been adjourned to October 21st. Prosecutors allege that on January 11th, 2023, while armed with a firearm and concerned with another items of a Kia Soul that contained 2 deposit bags containing an unknown sum that belonged to Island Game. The incident happened in Fox Hill. Overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump used the platform of the presidency to promote unproven and, in some cases, discredited ties between Tylenol and autism, as his administration announcing a wide-ranging effort to study the causes of the complex brain disorder. Trump instructing pregnant women around a dozen times yesterday during the once, quote, "Don't take Tylenol," also urging mothers not to give their infants the drug, known by the generic name acetaminophen, or paracetamol in other countries. He also fueled long-debunked claims that ingredients in vaccines or timing shots close together could contribute to rising rates of autism in the U.S. without providing any medical evidence. The announcement appeared to rely on existing studies rather than significant new research. Medical experts say Trump's remarks were irresponsible. New York University bioethic Kaplan said it was the, quote, saddest display of a lack of evidence, rumors, recycling old myths, lousy evidence, lousy advice, outright lies, and dangerous advice I've ever witnessed by anyone in authority. And with global support for a Palestinian state growing, Israel's devastating war in Gaza is expected to take center stage at the UN's gathering of world leaders. It's in full gear today. The General Assembly's big week of meetings began Monday with events including a conference on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Tuesday kicks off the general debate in which presidents, prime ministers, monarchs, and cabinet members give their annual take on the state of the world and their own nations. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, U.S. President Donald Trump, Turkish President Recep Erdogan, and Jordan's King Abdullah II, French President Emmanuel Macron, and South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung, along with President Cyril Ramaphosa, are among those scheduled to speak today. Brazil leads off in a decades-long tradition dating to when it was the only nation that volunteered to speak first. Annex of drones targeting a suspected gang leader killed at least 8 children inside a slum in Haiti's capital and seriously wounded 6 others, according to relatives and activists speaking to the Associated Press on Monday. They are blaming police for the attack. The explosions happened Saturday night in Cité Soleil, which is controlled by Vive Ensemble, a gang coalition that the U.S. has designated a foreign terrorist organization. One of its leaders, Jimmy Cherezier, known as Barbecue, vowed to avenge the attacks with a total of at least 13 people killed, according to residents. Meanwhile, Haiti's National Human Rights Defense Network accusing police of launching 2 explosions in the Simone Pelé community of Cité Soleil as suspected gang leaders prepared to celebrate the birthday of one of their leaders. The group said that the leader was distributing gifts to children when the attack occurred. In sports, for just the 7th time in the history of the World Athletic Championships, the Bahamas finished with no medals, but competed valiantly against the giants of the world. Almost 200 nations competed in the global meet, and the Bahamas finished in a 7-way tie for 61st on the placing chart with 4 points, with 3 athletes making the top 8 of their respective disciplines. Devin Charlton was 6th in the women's 100-meter hurdles. Kendrick Thompson ended the meet with an 8th-place finish in the men's decathlon among 24 competitors. And Anthony Strachan made the final of the women's 200 meters for a second time in a row, but was disqualified for a false start. More on that in today's Guardian Sports section. From NFL Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions running all over the Ravens, sacking quarterback Lamar Jackson 7 times in their 38-30 win. Detroit scored on drives of 98 and 96 yards against a Baltimore front that was without defensive linemen and showed little ability to handle the Lions physically. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. First look at weather brought to you by Star General. We've got an unsettled weather pattern across the northern and northwest Bahamas that will continue today as troughing persists in combination with tropical moisture. Elsewhere, weak high pressure will dominate, and that'll bring some isolated shower activity due to daytime heating. So a broad trough will persist for the northern half of the country, continuing to support shower activity through to the middle of the work week. Meanwhile, the Bahamas Department of Meteorology is monitoring a tropical wave near the Leeward Islands. That has potential for development. The wave could strengthen into a low-pressure system near the southeast Bahamas by Friday or Saturday. And regardless of whether that fully develops, that is going to bring some unsettled weather to the country in the form of gusty winds, heavy rainfall, thunderstorms, and that's going to continue for most of the weekend as it tracks northward. So keep that in mind. You've been warned. So there is a possibility of severe weather, strong to severe thunderstorms across portions of the northwest and northern Bahamas today. These storms have the potential to produce strong gusty winds, heavy downpours, frequent lightning, and possible waterspout or tornadic activity. And there is a moderate risk of rip currents along Atlantic exposed shorelines in the northern and northwest Bahamas due to distant major Hurricane Gabrielle out in the Atlantic. That's still impacting shorelines. Beachgoers and swimmers should exercise caution while visiting beaches, especially Atlantic exposures. So for today, your forecast for the northern and northwest Bahamas, partly cloudy to cloudy straight through to tonight. A 10% chance of isolated showers or thunderstorms this morning, increasing to 30 to 50% chance by this afternoon. That will be scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms this afternoon into this evening. Winds east to southeast at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable at times. For the central and southeast Bahamas today, a mix of sun and clouds, becoming partly cloudy by tonight. A 10 to 20% chance of showers or thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times. Temperatures today look for highs around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. But the heat index will make it feel like it's 104 for the northern and northwest Bahamas to 108 for the central and southeast Bahamas Fahrenheit. That's about 40 to 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 to 80 Fahrenheit, 26, 27 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and more on the tropics coming up in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General Insurance Made Simple. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we are discussing the day's top stories right here on Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It's the glitziest night in agriculture, where roots run deep and the spotlight shines bright. The Agrarian Awards 2025 takes center stage on Saturday, October 18th at the Atlantis Paradise Island Grand Ballroom. And you need to be there. Presented by the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources and the Agricultural Development Organization. Get your tickets now at adobahamas.org or call 397-7400 for more information. The Agrarian Awards 2025, planting with heart and soil.
This October, Bahama invites you to indulge your senses at the Culinary and Arts Festival, where world-class flavors meet breathtaking creativity in the heart of the Bahamas. Join us October 22nd through 26th for an unforgettable celebration featuring culinary legends Marcus Samuelson, Dario Zucchini, Simeon Hall Jr., and Scott Conant. Alongside a vibrant lineup of chefs and mix, explore captivating art installations, interactive workshops, and live performances, all set against the stunning backdrop of Nassau's premier luxury resort. From curated tasting to beachfront feasts and immersive gallery experiences, this is more than a festival. It's a feast for the soul. Tickets and packages are going fast. Visit bahamar.com to reserve your spot at the Culinary and Arts Festival at Bahamar, where taste and talent take center stage.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Nothing beats a Chickchani challenge. On September 27th, we're bringing the action, a 5K course packed with 20 thrilling obstacles. Start and superplex with energy, fun and excitement all around. First time? No problem. Try the Chickchani Lite version, built just for beginners. Got kids? Ages 3 to 7 can take on their very own Chickchani Kids Challenge. And this year, we're turning 10. So 14, mark your calendar and come celebrate with us. Visit chickchanichallenge.com to sign up today. Thanks to our sponsors Fusion Superplex, Guardian Radio 96.9, Kalina, RBC, Advantage Insurance, Party Pilots Rentals and Events, Fincastle Media Group, Powerade, Click and Art of Graphics.
On World Tourism Day, we proudly join the global community in celebrating this year's theme, tourism and sustainable transformation. Here in Nassau and Paradise Island, we see every day how tourism shapes lives and strengthens communities. With each visit, our culture shines brighter, our stories travel further, and our islands continue to thrive for generations. Sustainability is at the core of our journey, from mangrove planting,
to scholarships for Bahamian students, preserve historic landmarks, to supporting our artisans. The Nassau and Paradise Island Promotion Board is committed to safeguarding what makes our islands so special. As we celebrate, let us continue working together to preserve paradise and uplift our people, ensuring that tourism remains a true force for good now and in the future.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also in your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning69 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796, standard text rate supply. Once again, it's on to Quesadine. Still off today. She's back with us next week. Hope she's still having a great time. Coming up this morning, though, we've got a lot to talk about. As we told you last week, the Davis administration celebrating 4 years in office. Today, we are getting perspective from the opposition. FNM, St. Anne's MP Adrian Dwight scheduled to be with us this morning as we talk about these 4 years and how they've been going from the opposition's perspective. And then in this, we are talking with the Small Business Development Center, their Young Entrepreneurs Academy. We'll get all the latest on that. That's all ahead. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And in the news, a big headline in the Nassau Guardian: government defense raises, pay raises not an election ploy. That's according to Pia Glover, the Minister for Labor and the Public Service. Well, this is, as she's saying, that they've been promising this, so why anyone would see it that way is odd. But it doesn't even matter, right? Even if it is, it has been proven not to really work in favor of the administration in power. So, but this is what they promised, and this is great news for so many civil servants. So, yeah. But that's the headline in the paper today. I do, though, about what happened in the U.S. yesterday, and U.S. President Donald Trump and his announcement on autism and what his folks are saying. And I'll read this story from the Associated Press. So this story says U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday used the platform of the presidency to promote unproven and in some cases discredited ties between Tylenol, vaccines, and autism as his administration a wide-ranging effort to study the causes of the complex brain disorder. Quote, "Don't take Tylenol," Trump instructed pregnant women around a dozen times during the White House news conference, also urging mothers not to give their infants the drug, known by the generic name acetaminophen in the U.S. or paracetamol in other countries, which is sold as Panadol. He also fueled long-debunked claims that ingredients in vaccines or timing shots close together could contribute to rising rates of autism in the U.S. without providing any medical evidence. Which appeared to rely on existing studies rather than significant new research, comes as the Make America Healthy Again movement has been pushing for answers on the causes of autism. The diverse coalition of supporters of Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. include several anti-vaccine activists who've long spread debunked claims that immunizations are responsible. The announcement also sheds light on Trump's own long-held fascination with autism and his trepidation about the childhood vaccine schedule, even as the president has taken pride in his work to disseminate COVID-19 vaccines during his first term. Well, medical experts say Trump's remarks were irresponsible. New York University bioethicist Art Kaplan said it was the, quote, saddest display of a lack of evidence, rumors, recycling old myths, lousy advice, outright lies, and dangerous advice I've ever witnessed by anyone in authority. Trump announced during the event that the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, would begin notifying doctors that the use of acetaminophen, quote, can be associated with an increased risk of autism, but did not immediately provide justification for the new recommendation. Now, some studies have raised the possibility that taking acetaminophen during pregnancy might increase the risk of autism, but many others haven't found that concern, according to autism expert David Mandel of the University of Pennsylvania. One challenge is that it's hard to disentangle the effects of Tylenol use from the effects of high fevers during pregnancy. Fevers, especially in the first trimester, can increase the risk of miscarriages, preterm birth, and other problems, according to the Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine. Trump also urged not giving Tylenol to young children, but scientists say that research indicates autism develops in the fetal brain. Responding to Trump's warnings, the Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine said they still recommend Tylenol as an appropriate option to treat fever and pain during pregnancy. The president of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists said Monday that suggestions that Tylenol use in pregnancy causes autism are, quote, irresponsible when considering the harmful and confusing message they send to pregnant patients. Meanwhile, Trump's press secretary is saying in a statement Monday evening that the administration, quote, does not believe popping more pills is always the answer for better health, and that it will, quote, not be deterred in these efforts, as we know millions across America are grateful. And Tylenol maker Kenvue disputed any link between the drug and autism on Monday and said in a statement, if pregnant mothers don't use Tylenol when in need, they could face a dangerous choice between suffering fevers or using riskier painkiller alternatives. Well, shares of Kenvue Inc. fell 7.5% in Monday trading, reducing the company's market value by about $2.6 billion. Dr. Kennedy announcing during the news conference that at Trump's urging, he was launching a new all-agency effort to uncover all the factors that could be contributing to autism, a question scientists have been researching for decades. The FDA Commissioner, Dr. Marty Makary, also taking the stage to announce it was taking the first steps to try to approve a folic acid metabolite called leucovorin as a treatment option for patients believed to have low levels in the brain that may include some people with autism. Okay, let's get your reaction to this, folks. Again, studies are debunking this. That didn't stop the president and others to say this stuff. This is the most widely used and most highly recommended painkiller for pregnant women, as ibuprofen can increase the risk of bleeding, and so Advil and Motrin are not recommended, and Tylenol seem to be safer, especially compared to aspirin, and that's not recommended, I believe, now. But let's get you into this. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Was it dangerous? Was it damaging? Is it going to cause more problems? What happened yesterday? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Okay, let's get to some of the text messages. This person says here, if you and your liberal supporters believe that the revelation is debunked and unproven, then encourage all women and children to continue to take Tylenol. I want you to say it's okay to take after we were warned. Yeah, absolutely. if you need to. Don't take it if you don't need it. But yeah, we said it. This person says here, if they're so quick to reject what Trump is saying, tell us what is costing this extreme increase in autism. My kid is autistic, and 8 kids are in his class. It's too many kids being born this way, and it hurts as a parent watching kids and your own kids struggle. I'm sure it is. We don't know. It's not everybody. So what does that mean? It's not everybody. So it's something else, right? All these mothers who've taken Tylenol, children taking Tylenol. Can't be it. Let's take some calls. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Caller, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning, Bahamas.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to call as opposed to texting. I'm sure 52 is going to have a lot to say about this too. But what Trump is trying to do to address this issue is very perplexing and concerning issue of autism. No doubt, the liberals didn't debunk his statistics when he revealed that 20 years ago, it used to be 1 out of every 20,000 babies being affected by autism. They didn't debunk that. Now we have 1 in every 10.
What word did you say? Liberals? Where's liberals coming in this? You mean doctors?
From the left.
Doctors?
From the far left.
Doctors?
Doctors.
Doctors. Okay.
Doctors, Dwight, check their political affiliation.
Wow.
Democrat. But they didn't.
Where are you getting that information, though? I mean, you went on the Democrats' list of supporters?
Most of the mainstream media are now debunking it as if it's something great.
The media is reporting what doctors are saying.
These doctors are the same doctors who was pushing this vaccine and all the other stuff. But
which vaccine?
According to the
Which
research,
vaccine? All vaccines? What do you mean?
I'm talking about this COVID vaccine.
Okay.
I'm talking about all of these other different vaccines. In most cases, the kids don't even need. But the point that Trump is trying to make is, 1, in 20 years now, right? In 20 years, 1 in every 10 boys, and I think it's 1 in every 20 girls, have been affected by autism. Wouldn't you want any effort? I applaud any effort to address this. Any effort. But we're not saying that. We just want to debunk the man and just move on. But who is addressing this issue in terms of autism? Who's addressing it? He's trying. And we should give the man give these researchers some credit.
Which researchers? That's the problem. There's no research to corroborate what he's saying. That is the problem. We would give researchers credit if they could prove it. That is the challenge right there. Thanks for the call, though. Good morning. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight Strachan.
Hi.
I thought, according to the U.S. Constitution, that the job of the president is to carry out the mandates of Congress. But it appears as though it's the other way around here, where the president is telling Congress what to do, and he's just deciding what is truth. Because, I mean, if you know had to been vaccinated, in fact, you have animals right now. Cats, for example, they need to get this. You need to get your shot. This president, I think he's probably trying to do something to the population growth, maybe, by causing more death.
Well, that's a bit.
But look at what he's doing at weaponry through Israel. I mean, it just seems to be genocide. It's like he's coming off like a murderer, man.
Go far now. But, these are crazy theories, let me take crazy out. These are theories, unsubstantiated. They have a theory, and in the past, when leaders had theories, they went to the scientists to prove or disprove them. That's not happening now over there, at least. You say you have a theory, and you just come out and say it, and you get on and say, yes, you're right. And that seems to be where we are. Caller, what say you on this, though? Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good morning, my blessed Bahamas. You know, Dwight, you go for Trump. Trump is a strong leader. Believe in God, love his country, and love his people. I wish our leaders was like Mr. Trump. You know, Dwight, you see, the only reason I got a vaccine during the COVID time was because I wanted to travel. You know, I normally try to travel twice a year. I never took the booster shot because if all these vaccines are so good, why people still die?
What?
Yeah, why people still die?
Well,
if all these vaccines are still good.
You aren't dying from measles, though. You aren't dying from the things you got the vaccine for.
I think everything designed for the hogs to make money on the back of the poor people. You know what I mean? And I agree with you. We got too much liberals in this country, man. Too much liberals. Bye-bye.
Round them up and... Okay. Wow. Good morning, caller. I knew this was going to happen. I don't know why I did. Should have talked about the government defending raises. That would have been a safer thing to talk about today. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing?
Hi. Help me, please.
Good. Let me just say, I was actually pleasantly surprised that, but still I can, see the huge resemblance. I didn't know that Dr. Strachan was your brother.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Good old classmate of mine. We studied English together.
Excellent.
Anyway, the first caller said that we should give the president credit because he's trying.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not a statement that is made out of context. Take, for example, the Donald Trump appointed CDC top official, the lady. He appointed her, and once she encountered the Kennedy gentleman, she resigned because she was absolutely concerned that her credibility come into question when, if she had followed along the lines of the things that he was planning to do and that he is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say, if you're trying in that context, trying is problematic. If you take a guy like Kennedy, who has been all his life practicing, or should we say, behaving in a way where he is opposing to science. He's traveled around the world promoting scientifically opposing views. And you take that guy and you gave him a scientific-based organization like the CDC. To me, when you say he's trying and put it in that context, I see it as problematic, and I don't think that it should be given the kind of credit that he's trying to give. If I'm looking to build something based on engineering parameters, I'm not going to get someone who's opposed to engineering and put them in charge.
Mm-hmm. Well, you would if you're trying to shake things up and appeal to your base and cause trouble. So you would. But maybe you wouldn't.
Yeah, but clearly his objectives are questionable. If as scientifically based as the CDC is, research-based decisions that is rooted in data, decisions that are guided by proven science, and you put someone who's opposing to that to run that organization, you're clearly not acting in the best interest of that agency. Mm-hmm. But that being said, let's look at yesterday, the whole situation for yesterday, right? If you say to me that in the last 20 years there's been an increase in the amount of hurricanes, yes, that could be a fact, and the amount of violent hurricanes. But my reason for saying that those increases and the violent hurricanes is based in this doesn't necessarily mean that both things don't have to be true.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that an increase in autism doesn't mean that Donald Trump's reason for it being increased is accurate because, like you pointed out, none of it is based in science.
Right. And again, it's not like everybody who takes Tylenol has a child who is autistic, right? So
exactly.
obviously there's another factor.
Support it.
Yeah.
And so I'll close by saying this, that I just listened to how the gentleman said, oh, there's been an increase. No one is disagreeing with that. What we're disagreeing with is Donald Trump is seizing him and the Kennedy and all the other, what we call, people who dive in nonsense-based outcomes.
Yeah.
They are seizing on a reason that is not fact-based. Let's not lose sight of that.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
Thanks a lot. And there were other things that weren't facts said yesterday. That there was no autism in the Amish community. No autism there. That's not true. It's not true. Let's take another call, and then we'll read these messages before we take the break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. That fellow talking with the CDC and all that foolishness. Tell you the same thing. The same man back in the 80s said if you come next to a person who has AIDS, you'll end up with AIDS. Same man they are in charge. And Bill Gates and stuff.
Okay, Fauci isn't there anymore, so let's talk about what happened yesterday.
I'm talking this all this time.
And everybody was off on the AIDS epidemic.
It was beyond off.
Okay.
It was beyond off.
But Fauci is not in this conversation at all.
I'm saying now, like your last caller is now talking with the CDC and do all kind of research. They do all kind of researches on the thing too, but guess what? They went from trials straight to the human test, giving humans that vaccine, that stupidness. And now it's proven now it's killing a lot of people.
What? Where? Who? Which vaccine?
I mean, the same so-called the jab, what they call the jab back then, a couple years ago.
You're talking about the COVID vaccines?
Yes.
It's killing lots of... Okay,
It is. It's proven now.
How is it proven?
A lot of people now check it out now.
Where would I check that out? Craziness.com? Where would I find that information?
No. It'll prove, right?
Okay.
They would never say, guess what? They'd never tell you,
about autism and what happened yesterday, what do you have to say?
Well, I mean, guess what? Trump, I'm glad he bringing some light to it.
So you're done with Tylenol and Panadol. You'll never take it again?
Guess what? I don't subscribe to taking those stuff anyhow.
Okay.
So it's not to me.
Mm-hmm. And what should pregnant women who are having fevers or in pain do?
If they're having headaches and stuff, it's proven that you eat chocolate. Mm-hmm. It numbs the pain.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Appreciate it. Oh, my God. Okay. Some text messages. Let's get to the text messages. This is a serious one. Should I even read this out loud? I don't know. I wonder how many politicians sold their stock before the news on Tylenol. Oh, boy. This texter says, autism diagnosis existed before Tylenol was even created. How does a sitting responsible adult make these claims? Before it was widely distributed. Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you know if there is any relief from mosquitoes here in Exuma? What? It's hard to work outdoors. I hope they're listening. They need to get down there and fall. Sounds like your listeners can't discern the difference between you reading the news and you expressing an opinion. I don't see how this is a liberal versus conservative thing. I really don't get that part either. But apparently, if you disagree with anything the U.S. president said, you are a liberal. That's just what it is. Disagree equals liberal. Mm-hmm. Agree equals conservative. Go. I agree with a couple things with him. What does that mean? I'm a mess, so sure. You'll be surprised or not to see who will benefit from the alternative medicine that is being recommended. It's always a fight when certain people are involved. Okay. Weeks ago, it hit me. The U.S. has now joined the Bahamas in Narnia. Persecute your enemies, stifle the media, pile up profits for yourself and your cronies, deification of leadership, wild unfounded statements, use cracks as political tools. It's fascinating. As to Tylenol and what's changed in the last 20 years, more travel, more fast food, less exercise, and waiting on water as a cause of a number of diseases, including cancer any minute now. I'm sure water is coming, especially a certain type of water, I bet. This person says, if Tylenol and vaccines were the cause of autism, wouldn't more people have it? We really have to think more instead of running with rhetoric. Trump is the last person we should... We should be taking medical suggestions. Said we should give Trump credit for trying, but it is extremely irresponsible to spread information that you cannot prove, especially with an illness like autism that we know so little about. I can't understand that text. The reason for more autism cases is simple. We all know that back in the 70s and 80s, there were kids in our classes who we could say were different or strange. Today, they would be diagnosed with autism or being on the spectrum. There are now more diagnoses being done. Also, studies have shown that if the parents are older, the risk can be higher autism. The bottom line is that many more diagnoses are being carried out. Yes, many are claiming to be on the spectrum. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but you're onto something there, definitely. You knew this was going to happen. Keep in mind these Trumpers are voting in our elections next year. That's my guess how he feels about that. I'm just sorry for all of us behaving who took the COVID vaccine. Yeah? Why? What do you think? Your time is drawing nigh? Okay. Well, Trump and his minions are masters of conflation, causing mass confusion. Nobody's arguing that causes of autism have increased, but the cause of it is still unknown. I think we know more about it because scientists have been studying it. Yeah, indeed. Wow. This texture says here, yeah, you did know this was going to come. The thing is, you said it. The facts, the actual reason support Trump's view. I guess it goes to show that people will believe what they believe without any fact, science, or research-based views or opinion. Well, there are people who say what they already believed. And, and that's dangerous. It's dangerous stuff. But here we are. This is, feeling like we were in the dark ages. It's kind of starting to feel like that, and I'm a little. Well, I was always worried, but yeah, it's scary, folks. But anyway, try to do some research today. Don't listen to anybody. Go and find your facts from reputable sources and make your own decisions. And we'll try to have some experts on. But unfortunately, I guess if they're doctors, they'll be seen as being liberal. So that might be a problem for some listeners. But anyway, we'll take a break. Adrian White up with us next. Student.
This is gonna take a million days. I know you'll come around to me eventually. If you sit back, relax, enjoy my company, my company. Once you know what my love's gonna feel like, nothing else will feel right. You can feel like moonbeam ice cream, taking off your blue jeans, dancing at the movies, 'cause it feels so mystical, magical, oh baby, 'cause once you know what my love is so mystical, magical, oh baby.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible, work with the brightest minds, and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is always the first step to overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Cozy up to autumn delights
with Nassau Tile during our fantastic fall sale, September 22nd to 29th. Harvest the best deals on this season's latest designs with 20% off store-wide. Buy big and save big on all tile, thin set grout, mosaics, trims, and more. Don't delay. Prices are falling and autumn deals are calling at Nassau. Call 322-2100 or visit our showroom on Dodswell Street to make your fantastic fall dream space a reality.
Your solution for rising gas prices and expensive car maintenance has landed. Brand new 2020 electric vehicles from BYD have arrived at Easy Car Sales. Imagine no more gas and major savings on maintenance. Test drive a BYD EV today and save thousands with the car that redefines driving. Visit easy242.com for our 3 locations, in-house financing, and more. Easy Car Sales, the only authorized BYD dealer and warranty provider in the Bahamas.
In uncertain times, resilience is everything. That's why CFAL is inviting you to the financial services event of the year, the 2025 CFAL Pension and Economic Conference. It all happens Thursday, 16th at 8 a.m. at the Grand Hyatt Baha Mar Convention Center. Under the theme Resilience in the Face of Global Uncertainty, this half-day conference is your chance to gain powerful insights on today's shifting global economy. This is the premier networking and knowledge-sharing event of the year, and you cannot afford to miss it. So secure your spot today at www.com.
Things may be tough, but Wendy's got you covered. Grab a day single or chicken sandwich with a junior fries and 16-ounce beverage for just $6.95. Why choose less from the other guys when you can get more? At Wendy's, we're providing bigger bites and better deals. So purchase your Tings Tough Value Meal today. Now available at all locations excluding the airport and food truck.
KB and Sting, coming with the Bohemian Ting. Oh, yeah. Yes. I's a Bohemian, hairy born and bred. I don't want to live nowhere else, even when I dead. I's a Bohemian, and if you want me there by 9, better tell me come 8. See, I's a Bohemian, I say, nobody gonna spend my money when I go to my grave. Yes, I's a Bohemian, don't wanna make no fuss, but if you we know, but outside toilet, you will one of us. Like Andrews grabbing dough.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you on this Tuesday morning. Okay, so we're going to change gears from what we were talking about earlier. As I said, we'll try to get some medical professionals in here to discuss that fully at some point. So, as you knew last week, we told you we even started going through their blueprint for change. The Davis administration celebrating 4 years in office. And for a different perspective on how it's been going, we were very happy to have the opposition with us, F&M St. Anne's MP Adrian White. Back with us. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Dwight. It's great to be on with Strachan.
Oh, wow. I love it. Okay, thank you very much for that. All right. 4 years with the Davis administration. I suspect I know the answer to this question, but how do you feel they've been doing overall?
What we're seeing today with the lack of full principals in schools, some 7 still without confirmed, Claridge Primary having only 1 teacher on a day last week, that goes with where we stand now and where we began when this government took public funds, and they've abandoned us from the start, and it's even more evident today. Overall, my grade of them would be an F, and ultimately, my view of what they've done to this nation is abandon the many and only sought to enrich the few.
Mm-hmm. An F?
An F from me because we gave them a lot of hope. The country was very optimistic that this new day would bring change, and they've not brought that change. So when you've promised highly or when you promise greatly and not succeeded, my view is it's not a matter of grading you in increments. It's a matter of pass or fail, and this Davis administration has failed the nation, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So you do not see anything that's gotten better, that they've touted that they got us successfully out of the pandemic, that they brought down school violence, the school feeding program is a success. You don't see anything to be proud of here.
The things that I'm proud of the nation are our people. I'm not particularly proud right now of our leaders in this administration. We have an industry of tourism that has continued to have grown, but that's almost a hands-free industry in terms of government participation or policy participation. We've seen airlines have removed their flights into the country. We've seen a expansion of cruise ships that are taking up occupation of private islands on a more regular basis. Where Bahamians feeling that they're being squeezed out of the opportunities, and all that despite the takeover of Athol Island. So what we're having is really a growth of our tourism industry that levels the people aren't feeling. And I think the public opinion is that those growths in the tourism industry are not growths in the right direction. Heads in beds have decreased. Stopover visitors have decreased. The only thing that has increased are the numbers, and I think there are some international organizations even questioning whether our tourism numbers are in fact accurate.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right, so you mentioned a lot there. Let's get into this. What you feel is the number one thing that needs to be addressed right now? We only have a couple minutes before the news, but let's start on that.
The first thing that needs to be addressed are the issues impacting our children. So automatically we need to get these schools fully functioning with principals. We need to have the appropriate amount of teachers. We need to look at this issue that's been raised recently with two different opinions from those in the union and from those in the departments, where we have a number of students that don't speak English that need additional help. So overall, we have a continued status of a D average in our schools. We really need to see how we can impact that positively, not just across the board so we can get ourselves in the back.
But again, the D is the average grade, not a failing grade.
Yes.
It's this.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we need to see how we can improve that for a majority of students. Even if it doesn't increase tremendously across the board from a D to a C minus in the next 2 years, we need to see how we can increase the number of students that are attaining better grades and higher grades. If it means that we need to give extra attention to students that need it because of a language barrier, or if it means that we need to separate students that have a language barrier and put them directly into classes so they're not interrupting students that don't have the language barrier but may have a reading barrier. We really need to ensure that overall every Bahamian student is given the best opportunity to succeed through their academic career and then into their professional and trades career.
Let's talk a little more about that before we go to the break. How do we do this? Because I don't know if we were ever at a point where it was better in terms of the grades. In fact, we remember my grade was the last that did the GCs. Then most of the people in my grade were not allowed to do GCs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it has been better at any point in our history. So what does that mean, and what do we have to do to fix this?
We have to do a true assessment of our current expectations, of what we want our students to graduate with, what we want them to have in order for them to graduate. It's not fair, I think, in my opinion, for a student to go from preschool, which was introduced free for Bahamians by the last administration, right through to graduation, whether it's 16, 17, or even for some students, 18. We need to ensure that the curriculum that they're taking is going to be applicable in their future, and that the grades, the courses that they're being forced to receive and graduate are not too cumbersome on each student. If there are students that wish to excel and are academically inclined to succeed, maybe go on to Ivy League schools, get scholarships, then we need to focus on those particular students in a slightly different way that we focus on the average student. But the basics need to be taught, and every Bahamian needs to succeed.
Okay, we're going to explore this a little more and a whole lot more, including what you're talking about in the papers today. We're talking with Adrian White at St. Anne's MP. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio. Stay with us. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:27, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Looking to paint? Well, your local Sherwin-Williams store has top-quality paints, expert advice, and everyday discounts to help you save only at Sherwin-Williams. So here's what's happening today. We've got an weather pattern that will continue for the northern and northwest Bahamas today as troughing persists in combination with tropical moisture. Elsewhere, weak high pressure will dominate the area, with the weather across the area. Though that's going to bring some isolated shower activity in the afternoon for the central and southeast Bahamas. So over the next few days, a broad trough of the northern half of the country, and that's going to continue to support shower activity until the middle of the work week. Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology closely watching a tropical wave near the northern Leeward Islands. This has potential for development, and the wave could strengthen into a low-pressure system near the southeast Bahamas by Friday or Saturday. Regardless of whether it fully develops, this disturbance is going to bring some unsettled weather in the form of gusty winds, heavy rainfall, thunderstorms, and that's going to be across most of the country this weekend as it moves northward. So keep that in mind if you have activities planned for this weekend. For today, though, there is a possibility of isolated strong to severe thunderstorms across the northern and northwest Bahamas. The storms have the potential to produce strong gusty winds, heavy downpours, frequent lightning, and waterspout or tornadic activity. And there is a moderate to high risk of rip currents along Atlantic exposed shorelines in the northern and northwest Bahamas as a result of Hurricane Gabrielle all the way on the Atlantic. Beachgoers and swimmers should exercise caution while visiting beaches in this area. So for today, your forecast calls for partly cloudy to cloudy conditions today through tonight for the northern and northwest Bahamas. A 20 to 30% chance of showers this morning, increasing to up to 50% by this afternoon into this evening. Slightly better conditions for the southeast and central Bahamas, a mix of sun and clouds becoming mostly fair tonight, only about a 10 to 20% chance of showers or thunderstorms. Temperatures, we're looking at highs around 90, 91 Fahrenheit, 32, 33 Celsius. The heat index will make you feel like it's anywhere from 104 to 108 Fahrenheit, 40 to 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 79, 80 Fahrenheit, 26, 27 Celsius. In your extended outlook for Wednesday, partly cloudy to cloudy for the northern and northwest Bahamas, variably cloudy for the rest of the country. A 40 to 60% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms for the northern and northwest Bahamas tomorrow. By Thursday, variably cloudy across most areas, a 20 to 30% chance of showers or thunderstorms. That's going to hold for Friday and into Saturday, and for most of the weekend, actually. In the tropics, again, we're watching a couple of areas. It's Hurricane Gabrielle, just east-northeast of Bermuda now. It's a major hurricane. And there are two areas in the tropics we're watching other than that. We've got in the central and western tropical Atlantic showers and thunderstorms associated with the tropical wave about 1,000 miles east of the Leeward Islands. The Lesser Antilles at least, showing signs of organization. Environmental conditions are forecast to be more favorable for development later tonight, and a tropical depression could form by Thursday or Friday. And then east of the Leeward Islands, we've got a tropical wave about 100 miles east of the Leeward Islands. That's producing concentrated but disorganized showers and thunderstorms. A tropical depression could form late this week when the system is over the southeast Atlantic Ocean near the Bahamas. That's the one we told you about earlier. We've got to keep an eye on that one. Definitely going to bring rain to the Bahamas over the weekend. That's your morning blend weather check. Also brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Reminding you that whether you're on the road or planning your next move, they've got you covered. Visit NUAinsurance.com for an instant motor quote or stop by your nearest branch today. And time for a check of traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing a number of hot spots. We've got Mile Butler Highway, heavy traffic from the Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. If you head northbound, traffic backed up both directions on Fire Trail as well towards that roundabout. And if you're heading northbound as you move north towards the six-legged roundabout, you're going to see that heavy traffic again north of the Sports Center Road roundabout. And at the six-legged roundabout, slow-moving traffic eastbound on John F. Kennedy Drive and southbound on New Providence Highway. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road, very heavy traffic for you just north and south of Soldier Road on the way to Independence Drive. If you're heading northbound, that's going to lead all the way up to Robinson Road and even extending to Cordo Avenue. Independence Drive, heavy westbound traffic this morning to about East Street and Blue Hill Road, and East Street north and south of Soldier Road also seeing slow-moving northbound traffic right now. Along Prince Charles Drive, the major intersections, you're going to be having issues, especially as you get closer to Beatrice Avenue and into Robinson Road is west of Soldier Road. Robinson congested for you near Old Trail. And northbound on Soldier, as you make your way to Bernard Wolf and Village, you'll be seeing heavy traffic there. Those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Fresh from the factory, fully electric and built for the future. Discover the new collection of 2026 EV models at easy242.com. All electric all the time since 2016.
This October, Bahama invites you to indulge your senses at the Culinary and Arts Festival, where world-class flavors meet breathtaking creativity in the heart of the Bahamas. Join us October 22nd through 26th for an unforgettable celebration featuring culinary legends Daniel Boulud, Marcus Samuelson, Dario Cicchini, and Simeon Hall Jr., alongside a vibrant lineup of Bahamian chefs and mixologists. Explore captivating art installations, interactive workshops, and live performances, all set against the stunning backdrop of Nassau's premier luxury resort. And don't miss an electrifying live performance by global superstar Lenny Kravitz, headlining the festival's welcome party on Friday, October 24th, with a concert experience you won't forget. This is more than a festival, it's a feast for the soul. Tickets and packages are going fast. Visit bahamar.com to reserve your spot at the Culinary and Festival at Bahamar, where taste and talent take center stage. Bahamar, life spectacular.
Here's the show-winning art store moment from Shelley and Dee Dee.
We're the only full art store in the Bahamas. If we don't have it, we make a list, and trust me, our boss can get that. If you need that, he can get that. You can find sketchbooks, acrylics, all sizes, stencils. We have the Angelus that they use on shoes and letters. We're the only persons in Nassau that carries the Montana spray. We have the Krylon sprays, watercolor and paints, the oil, chalk paints, the alcohol paint, metallic paints, the little Floetrol, and we have cleaning products for the artists, thinning products for the artists, and Crayola colors, and glitters, pencils, the Posca markers, and pastels, oil, and the acrylic pastels, dyes. Oh yeah, we also have airbrush paint. Get a part of the movie. Gift sets, hobby craft,
Oil shrimp, stew shrimp, shrimp gumbo. But art supplies. We have a lot of them. Sherwin-Williams Art Store. Find colour in every day.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and binders, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located at the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Cozy up to autumn delights with Nassau Tile during our fantastic fall sale, September 22nd to 29th. Harvest the best deals on this season's latest designs with 20% off store-wide. Buy big and save big on all tile, thin set grout, mosaics, trims, and more. Don't delay. Prices are falling and autumn deals are calling at Nassau Tile. Call 322-2100 or visit our showroom on Dodswell Street to make your fantastic fall dream space a reality.
Jumping, dancing, having fun, and dancing through the...
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. On with you on this Tuesday morning. We are talking with F&M St. Anne's MP Adrian Dwight. All right, so before the break, you gave the administration an F. Somebody's texting and says, yeah, things might not be all that good, but definitely ain't no F. How do you say to that? People who say that's a little harsh.
As I said before, it's a pass or fail, and this Davis administration coming with a new day has failed the Bahamian people. They are giving us reports on how bad things are, but at the same time, overall, we've been abandoned by a government. This is not some single nonprofit. This is the entity that's been elected, hired to govern the country, and we have representations of $135 million deficit. We have representations of $183 million road contract for West Grand Bahama, $180 million in Eleuthera. We have a $75+ million glass window bridge coming up. We have our beds, our natural resources being pawned off to an entity with connections within the office of the Prime Minister. It's just really too much to bear. And I think the majority of the Bahamian people are now seeing it, that this is a government for a few, and it's like the F&M will be doing. The F&M government will be working for you.
All right, so you talked about what you think the biggest issue is. You said children, education. Let's get to your number two before I get to some specific issues I want to ask you about.
Great, yeah. So, but children and education would also follow into our social services issues, where we've got 180 cases of children being reported to have been abused over the last 11 months. We've got the Minister for Social Services in his budget communication saying that there's been a uptick and increase in the number of cases where mothers are prostituting their daughters for assistance with utility bills. Really, the burden on the Bahamian people is just far too much. We have a middle class that is now requiring $10,000 in income for a family of four. That's not 4 children. That's a mother and a father and 2 children, or a single mother with 3 children. And that's really out of reach.
But that didn't happen in the last 4 years. I mean, that's been happening for most of our lifetime. It's been getting higher and higher every year, it seems.
It's not been improved during this administration, and the entity that's been hired to ease the burden on the backs of the Bahamian people haven't really done anything to impact that. I personally know that I'm working into my savings, which is not a status that I want to be in. Even with the Member of Parliament's salary, the majority of that salary is going to my utility bills, electricity in particular. So whereas I may have had ambitions to be investing in a second home or a multifamily home for income generation and future retirement profits, that's not been happening due to the burdens on households, on my household in particular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people can relate to that. Oh boy.
The second highest issue for me, Dwight, first before I get into that, I wanted to gift this lovely desktop Bahamian flag to you as the host of the greatest morning show.
Oh, wow.
I might have mentioned it to you, I've mentioned it to others, that listening to Dwight is almost as good as coffee in the morning. So I'm just happy to be on with Strachan.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I'll leave it here in the studio for everybody here at Guardian Radio. Thank you. All right, so the second issue.
Second issue for me is crime. It's the most important issue that's impacting neighborhoods. We encounter when coming home at nighttime, persons that are being burglarized. We have cases of rape that are being reported still into individuals that are past retirement age. What I mentioned earlier with the number of cases of young persons that are being reported, the lack of shelters in our communities, the apparent increase of persons that have mental illnesses that are occupying public spaces, even in the St. Anne's constituency. When the late Obie Wilchcombe was still in the House of Assembly, he tabled and passed legislation that would enable the police to remove persons with mental health issues from our public spaces. And it's not a matter of persons with mental health being a problem to society. It's a matter of society not having the proper resources to take care of persons with mental health issues.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. So we were talking about this off air. You're a shadow minister for a number of areas.
Yeah. Shadow minister for legal affairs, shadow minister for works and family island affairs, and former chairman of the town planning committee, which is the committee that comes under the planning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and that we were talking about this housing, and you're in the papers today with some concerns about the 24 families that got keys and how that came to be. Let's talk about for new houses. Let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about the housing crisis that we have in the country.
Great. So what we would have seen with these 24 conveyances that were distributed recently, at least copies distributed, the government has undertaken to ensure that the Department of Inland Revenue tax is paid and that the instruments are recorded for the persons that are receiving these 24. This is done under what we would traditionally call eminent domain, which is meant to be an acquisition by the government from persons in the public for a public benefit. So traditionally you'll find that when we're expanding our infrastructure, roads, for instance, or utilities, we might take a section of someone's parcel of land so that utility expansion can be carried out. This is the first time that I am aware it's been done for private conveyances for acquisition. And ultimately went through the Minister of Housing, but we don't know exactly how many other people had applied for the same parcel of land. We don't know how many other persons had an interest. I've heard from at least 2 persons that have said, that land that they recently were giving conveyances out for, I understood that land was part of my mother's family's land. So there's a lot of uncertainty, even with this title as it is right now. But this application of eminent domain in the public's interest, clearly there are some members of the public that are going to benefit from it, but it seems like a select few. And the government knew that they were going to be proceeding with the land adjudication bill and the land reform bill that recently was passed in the House of Assembly. This seems to be doing the same action that land adjudication would do. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, if this is seen as a fair and proper application of eminent domain, they could have been doing this for several other parcels of land throughout our Commonwealth, particularly those areas where the land is seen and described to be generational land. Mm-hmm. But they didn't do it for anyone else that I'm aware of besides these 24 persons in Fox Hill. And a question the public has is why them? Why not others, knowing what we've been dealing with for a long time? But for those 24, it's good that they will now have legal title to that property. What I would like to know exactly is what is the subdivision infrastructure that's been completed. So I admittedly haven't even seen the site where these 24 parcels are. But as the former chairman of the town planning committee and as a resident of St. Anne's, the Johnson Road area, Step Street area, the Fox Hill area, I have seen several instances where a parcel of land is subdivided for the benefit of family members to each have their own section, but then the roadway that's put in is not really at all times properly constructed. Asphalt doesn't necessarily go down. Utilities are partially in but not properly in. So I hope that the persons that are getting these 24 lots there, they actually have all of that infrastructure in place, because when we're dealing with land in the Bahamas, we need to deal with it properly so persons end up with good title, but we need to deal with land properly also from a planning perspective so that communities can be intertwined in the future as we expand as a nation.
Yeah. So as part of the housing problems that we have, what would be different under the under the F&M, under Michael Pintard? How would things be changed?
The important thing is that in 2010, the former Minister of Environment, Earl DeVoe, passed the Planning and Subdivision Act, which called for a land use plan and land use policies. It's always been my position since coming into the House of Assembly that we're going to need to have land use plans and land use policies. So there's going to be a variety of ways in which housing in the country is going to be improved. We're going to increase the number of houses that get constructed in a year and overall in a term. I think that we're targeting roughly 1,000 homes to 2,000 homes in the country each year for our next term in government. These will have to be homes that are affordable to Bahamians. We're also looking at.
And what does that mean, affordable? Because
well, we're really gonna. I mean, it's really gonna need to be a plan that has accounted for all households. So there are still a large number of persons that are living in same or similar amenity conditions that we would have found households in prior to independence. So you have what we'll describe as a yard where there is a number of smaller structures.
Mm-hmm.
And while we all want running water and electricity to be in every home, we know obviously under this administration electricity is just not affordable for some. Even your water and sewage bill can be expensive if there's a leak that comes up. Your water gets turned off. If you're depending on that and your water's turned off, you're back to the pump. But there'll be plans in place for homes that can be constructed at a price where the mortgage can be maintained by the property owner. We'll look to renovate a lot of homes that currently are out of use so that they can provide alternative housing for persons likely struggling to meet the current rental bracket. So that'll be an expansion of government housing. And we're going to have a real estate trust where there can be opportunities for public and private partnerships to invest in real estate development in the country so that there can be a controlled rollout of housing opportunities that, one, can be affordable, and two, from an investment perspective, can provide a reasonable return and a safe return.
Mm-hmm. Are we at the point, are you all at the point yet where you determining the land use as in whether single family homes is the way to go versus multifamily, maybe townhouses or high-rise structures? Are we there yet?
We're not there yet in terms of the actual plan, but all of the realities are known. In New Providence, from my time as town planning chairman, we've already overdeveloped New Providence. So when we look at new subdivisions, we're actually looking at new subdivisions in a reduced green space area, say off of Carmichael Road or other locations. So we have to get into the communities where there are lots that haven't been developed, look at developing those. But we all understand that our population is going to continue to grow. Nassau is going to remain the capital. We are going to have to develop more in our family islands, provide economic opportunities to bring Bahamians back to those communities. And when I say bring Bahamians back to those communities, ensure that Bahamians are the ones or remain the majority in all of our family islands that are receiving the economic opportunities and not foreigners coming into the country or foreigners coming into the country and staying on a more permanent basis. But as far as I'm concerned, we have to look at taller buildings. We have to look at multifamily buildings. You go walking in the constituency now, going door to door, and you find someone that's in a very small structure, and they'll tell you there's 9 in the house.
Wow.
You know, so what we consider to be single-family structures in this country right now are really multifamily structures, and it's a burden because essentially what it's providing is a place for someone to sleep, if they're lucky, without water dripping through the roof, which is a common factor in our country, onto them while they're sleeping. But we have to face reality. There are going to be opportunities for single-family residents. There's definitely going to be opportunities for persons in multifamily structures as well. And we just have to make sure that the living amenities around those communities are reasonable, meet the criteria needed for outdoor opportunity, outdoor exercise time, and that the employment opportunities there also make it an attractive area to live in, and not one, that you need necessarily a private vehicle to get back and forth to.
Right.
We have to also look at our public transportation and how we're going to improve that so that Bahamians feel safe and there's a reliable, consistent public transportation service that they know at a particular time the bus will be there and to take them to work and to bring them home.
Okay, I definitely want to get that. That is a big one. Caller, we'll get to in a second, but this text was asking, we'll take on the concept of rent-to-own. How is that feasible as a government model? Can we expect the F&M to clear up the land registry matter as well?
I'm not sure exactly what the land registry matter is. The texter is talking about rent-to-own. I was giving an example to you during one of the breaks. You find persons that are buying low-cost housing that are paying mortgages to the bank. They're probably paying mortgages to private individuals. They could be interest-free mortgages. They're likely paying twice the of the low-cost homes, construction and land cost, maybe even 3 times. There needs to be a overall cap on the amount of, especially in the low-cost home structure, on the amount that they're paying over the course of their mortgage period. And that really lays neatly into a rent-to-own. So a rent-to-own is where you have a overall purchase price and you have a rental amount that you pay monthly, quarterly, or even yearly, but mainly it's going to be monthly for most persons. And a portion of that monthly rent goes towards the initial down payment for the purchase, right, and then the principal for the purchase as well. But that comes down to either a very generous investor, private investor, who's not looking to make as much money as he could in the private sector, looking to meet a social and public performance by giving back, where he caps the amount of profit, or it's a government that's going to come in and say, we're acting in the best interest of the people. We've been elected to provide these opportunities, and we know that at the end of the day, in a rent-to-own structure, the individual is probably going to be paying maybe 25 or 30% over what they would have if they had paid outright. We need to accept that we have to do the best for our citizens. And in terms of housing, there is a lot that's still lacking in the country, and it's a sacrifice that we can't handle as a people if we ensure that our citizens are now properly being able to have the expectations of life, a place to be employed, a place to raise their family, and most importantly, a place to go to church.
Yeah. Let's take these calls really quickly, and we'll get back to the public transportation issue. Caller, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing this morning?
Doing well.
Dwight, now I know you're a smart man, right? And I know you like the commentary that we made that you're the best host. But you got to ask him some tough questions.
Hey, you have one for him?
What I would like to know is what are they going to do when it comes down to this immigration crisis we have in this country and preventing them voting in our country to sway our elections? Guilty and FNM is guilty of it in the past. And I want to know where you're going to put these 1,000 homes every year. First of all, because there ain't much land here. Yeah, I don't want you just come in there and talk to make it sound good, just to try and persuade people to vote for you. We need real change. We need real action. And another thing too is we need debate. What are you guys going to do with debate? So we could grill you guys before we put you in there, because everybody comes on with all these good talk, and when they get there, it's like, oh, my hand's tied. That's nonsense for the people. If you go in there and you say you're working for the people, you need to work for the people. And you all need to put recall system in, so when you're ain't doing your job, we could put you out. See, nobody trying to do these things because all they care about is getting in there, getting what they could get, and getting out. They really don't care about the people.
Okay, there's a lot of things there. Let's get him to respond to that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, let's be with the 1,000 homes. Was it all for New Providence, or
that's in the Commonwealth? So we have family islands that are increasing with economic opportunity right now. Unfortunately, they're still being strangled by a lack of consistent power supply and water supply. Luther in particular Abaco's land, but Abaco doesn't have enough housing. So we're going to look to our communities that are really our third and fourth cities, or our family island cities of the future that need the development. Agriculture is massive in Andros. If we tap into that properly, they'll be homing into Andros as well. But in New Providence, and I get the skepticism of that caller, and that's why it's extremely important that we don't just simply rely on an amount that we're going to say is going to be done, but we actually have our land use plans, land use policies, and they may not be land use plans and land use policies that are the same in 2026 as they are in 2046, but they'll be the beginning of what the expectation of the Bahamian people are in terms of national development, of heavy industry, in terms of light industry, in terms of commercial activity, residential communities, multi-single, and also in terms of, and most importantly, green spaces. So with the land use plan, we'll know exactly the areas that will be targeted for the home rollouts.
With what he said about immigration, we've got another text about that. People very concerned that citizenship is being handed out, granted all over and willy-nilly. What's your response to that? Is there evidence to support this, and what would you do about it?
Well, there definitely is evidence to support it. I mean, the evidence is in the eyes of the Bahamian public. What we're seeing in the newspapers almost on a weekly basis. But the FNM has come up with a immigration policy called SHIELD. We're going to secure our land and end illegal occupation. So that's a bit of what's going on already under the shanty home communities. That was an initiative started under the FNM, was held up in court, and was released from the court under this administration.
I mean, what evidence do we have that they are not people who were born here and entitled to citizenship?
Well, in any event, there is an increase in citizenship being given out that is causing Bahamians to be concerned that it's going to impact the electoral process. It's going to impact the demand on social services. So those that are legitimate, and I'm talking about those that are within the Constitution, and I'm even talking about those that are within our laws, then those persons have a legal right to have citizenship given to them. We're still looking at a very large amount of persons that are born to Bahamian women that are precluded from automatically receiving citizenship. So that's something that needs to be corrected as well. But there's issues with citizenship being given to persons that aren't necessarily providing a public benefit to the country and don't qualify under the Constitution under one of the several headings. And you know, the most
people say that, but is that true? Do we have evidence to support that? I mean, callers say that. There are people on social media saying it, but is it true?
Yeah, that's what we will investigate under our SHIELD plan. But I certainly know that there are individuals that are operating in the country right now that can operate in the country, whether it's persons on spousal permits, that don't need citizenship themselves. You know, that citizenship is a loophole to benefit from our economy at greater levels than our own people are benefiting. And there needs to be an overall policy review of what we're going to be doing to ensure that the best opportunities remain for Bahamians, and that where foreigners are seeking citizenship, that we exercise the discretion based on the policy that the public wants, and that we see for the country in accordance with what our constituents are telling us.
And we've already asked your leader about it, about whether we do need to amend the Constitution to clarify some of this and refine and redefine some of this.
Yeah, I think definitely having a vote on it is something that we should do, a referendum. You know, the last referendum I recall us doing was on whether gaming should be legalized, and the majority of persons that turned out for that referendum voted against it. We still ended up legalizing gaming. But referendums are like the committees of Parliament are for members of Parliament. It's another way for committees in Parliament, or another way for MPs to participate in the parliamentary process. which is the second tier of government in our country. Referendums are another way for persons to participate at a national level on the direction that our nation goes. Whether a referendum gets voted in favor of or whether a referendum gets voted against, you have to listen to what the people want, and that's really where we can make changes to keep up with our country in today's times, not in our days of independence, but in 2026, some 50-odd years later, 52 years later. And that's important.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of one political party brought a referendum and it was voted against, so now they're going to be voted out of office. It's really to assess what the people want and whether or not the changes can be made to keep up with our changing country.
Yeah. Close, we'll get back to you in a bit, but I want to get back to public transportation. Everybody in opposition says they're going to fix it, they're going to unify the bus system or do all these miracles, but yet when they get in, we're stuck. What is the FNM's plan, and what can you really do to fix this?
I haven't been in the executive before. We've got a minister of transport and energy right now. I don't know what the obstacles have been. We've recently heard from members of the bus union, who were complaining, don't look at us. We've consistently been on the road, and we truly appreciate all of those bus services and drivers that are on the road. The problem is that some of them are reckless.
There's a lot of lawbreakers on the road,
some of them are reckless. Some of them are racers, trying to get ahead of the bus in front of them. Obviously, same route vehicles going off at the same time, overtaking. We've had some travesties. I can recall several years back, a young girl was run over because one bus was overtaking another bus. More recently, we've had buses taking off from their point of stop and hitting other individuals. We see fights continuously on buses, overflowing from the bus into the street, and it's just savage. And we shouldn't be operating that way. The amount of money that persons would receive, I expect, would remain the same. If we need to subsidize some of those services so we can have consistent routes that go on time, then we'll do that. If we have to implement a bus card, which can likely be optional at the beginning for persons to opt into the government subsidized service so that they'll be a part of a regular routine, then that's something that should be considered as well. I mean, even some of the bus carriers themselves can take it upon their own entrepreneurial spirit to offer an opportunity that they will be at the bus stop at these scheduled times and offer membership cards to customers who can pay to participate in the pickup and drop off by that bus provider on a consistent basis. There's never a reason to say that something can't be done in the Bahamas. We just need the right plan and implementation, and of course, not just with our busing service, but all throughout the Bahamas, we have a major problem with enforcement.
Yeah, but is that a plan of the FNM to unify the system or to encourage what you just talked about?
I know that the plan is to encourage, but we haven't come out with our transportation policies yet. We've got our 10-point plan on crime. We've got our 10-point plan, our SHIELD plan on immigration. But transportation is another one. But we've been to transportation issues from the issuance of an unknown amount of taxi plates in our Commonwealth. So it's definitely something that we're monitoring very closely. And I know that our party will be coming out with our manifesto in due time, and that'll be one of the major issues that are addressed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's take some more calls really quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And good morning, dear guest.
Morning.
So, I just have one question for Mr. White. Mr. White, you were in the House of Assembly during the time when the Sovereign Wealth Fund was repealed, right? I want to know what was the reasoning for the FLM not fighting against that repeal of the sovereign wealth fund, knowing that it was a vehicle that to possibly benefit the Bahamian people, and the FNM start right there and just allowed it to move, right? Then the other thing is, all right, I want to find out from you. I'm going to hang up, right? The immigration policies or shield, right? It doesn't. It seems like if the FNM is elected, we're going to be right back in the same immigration because, I ain't hearing no concrete feedback from your immigration policies, right? And then when it comes to what the land problems we have in this country around the islands, right? You don't think the New Providence is possibly the problem of the whole Bahamas today? Because we're still trying to operate the Bahamas centric. And I believe that would continue to keep the problem in this country, especially in our family islands, because, like you mentioned, you have different family cities, right? And these cities should have already been developed and prospering by now. But the reason why, in my opinion, is simply because everything you have to go through Nassau. So what is the FLM's policy in these things mentioned? I'll hang up and listen.
Okay. You want to get to the first one?
Yeah.
Sovereign Wealth Fund?
Yeah, so the Sovereign Wealth Fund, as presented in the House, had all of the attractions that the public has in it, that it's going to be a fund receiving monies that will go back into the economy and into the public services for the benefit of all Bahamians. And had we received the appropriate sums represented by from our carbon credits, we would be doing pretty well right now. Anything that moves through the House of Assembly comes down to a vote, and the government has an overwhelming majority of votes. I've not seen one member of the Progressive Liberal Party backbench or cabinet minister vote against a single one of their bills. So there are 32 members of the PLP administration in the House of Assembly and 7.
Is there a backbench?
7 for the FNM. There's a bench behind us, so it's back.
Sit in the back. Okay.
It's back behind us, but it's never voted against anything. I think the most controversial thing that the backbench has ever done was when Leroy Major, the member for, I think, Southern Shores, seconded the bill presented by Iram as a member of the COI. There was no support of it, and then Leroy spoke up and said he would second it. God bless him, but I think that may be his political end.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But yeah, at the time, the Sovereign Wealth Fund was something that many nations around the world have made good with. But like so many things here in the country, this Davis administration has not made good with their opportunities. And as I said before, I give them an F grade. Pass or fail, they failed.
All right. What he said about Nassau decentralization, we talk about it a lot on this show, and true local government for the family islands. I don't know if everybody in the FNM's on the same page with this, but where do things stand? Well, where do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Nassau, we are captivated by Nassau. We've called all of our other family island communities family islands. We just come into one basket, but many of those family island communities are the size and have the geography of the Turks and Caicos Islands, which is a smaller but a successful community, and there's no reason why we need to try to measure Eleuthera, even Grand Bahama, which offers different opportunities in Grand Bahama, but Abaco, why we need to measure them, and even Andros with Nassau. If we continue to measure the islands against the capital city, which has been under development well before independence, but since independence, central government is located in Nassau, then we're never going to see those communities really for the successes that they're accomplishing. And we should look to our family islands and try to tie them to places like the Turks and Caicos, Grand Turks, and their other islands, and say that this is what can be achieved. This is the direction we're going.
A similar model.
Similar model, and we just have to appreciate that there will come a time in our children's future where everyone can no longer be seeking to live in New Providence, and we need to start that plan now.
Right.
And we need to put the infrastructure in place so that we start even with a few communities and expand even within the same island from those few communities.
But
to
everybody
others.
says that we're in position. Everybody says this, and we get in and nothing happens, and we see more people leaving the islands, and New Providence's population swelling, and the islands depopulate. So, what will it take to really get serious about it?
It's going to take actual investment. Okay, you can take Long Island as an example. They've been waiting for their international airport for years. They've been waiting for a major development for years. They haven't always wanted a lot of people from outside of the community being in Long Island for lengthy periods of time. I mean, they're one of the best in terms of management of migrants in the community. But there are a ton of young men that find their time in the fishing industry, in the traditional industries in Long Island, but they want other opportunities, and I think all Long Islanders appreciate that and realize that now. So we need international airport there. We need a development there. We need infrastructure upgrades in our main family issues with the Exuma International Airport. That's still not being done. We know now that there isn't this funding for the Grand Bahama International Airport. That's going to impact our Lucaya. Definitely, we all agree that if the Grand Bahama economy can get the infrastructure that it needs, there will be economy, and people will be going back to Grand Bahama. People will go where the opportunities are. There are a number of persons operating in the construction industry in Abaco right now, mainly because there are residents that are seeking to return as a second home market. There's a way to manage it, and there's a way to ensure that it's Bahamians that are there carrying out the work. And we need to have the proper focus. And Michael C. Pintard, that level of care for the country and that vision for decisive action is within him. So there is great under the leadership of Michael Pintard. I'm looking forward to that.
Do you agree that more autonomy is needed for those islands and
Yes.
greater local government and
greater
more
funding,
independent local government?
Yep, I definitely do. I certainly think that for all of our major family islands, they should be allowed to carry out all of the regulatory approvals needed. And like I said before, if we do have land use plans and land use policies, it's not just New Providence, Nassau, it's also the family islands. So they're going to know what what central government has as far as expectation, what areas are opportune for an infrastructure. So all they have to do is when an application comes in, review the application, maybe do a site visit, and also lay it over what the national plan is for that part of their community. Definitely, Dwight, I think the last time I was here, more funding is needed in our family islands. Get them enough money that they can carry out the infrastructure works that we can afford. We don't need so much travel. We don't need so many. Put more millions into local government communities, especially the ones that are being targeted as our second, third, fourth, fifth cities. And then even in New Providence,
that's a local government for New Providence.
Yeah, I think that we need to go down that road. I don't like the way politics is because in local communities, if you're going to have elections, it's going to just become there's party dominance, so there's not going to be fair representation. But if there's a way to find persons that can be elected to positions, and I think that it's important that they're skilled persons, that they can provide a service and a benefit. One thing that when I sat as a town planning chairman was that notices that come to the Department of Physical Planning, like public notices, they don't, in the family islands, they'll get sent to the administrator's office. Okay? In New Providence, they don't get sent to the member of parliament's office. So the person that's been elected by the people to represent the people and will have their own way of communicating with the majority of the citizens so that they're aware. They're seen as being a office that's going to be too political and would hamper as opposed to benefit that process. But what you find is I have constituents that call me and tell me at the foot of Winton, highway on Eastern Road. There's somebody that's reclaiming seabed. There's major cement works going on. There is a work permit number on erected plywood wall in the front, but you can't see the amount of boulders that have gone into the water. You can't see the amount of seabed that's been reclaimed, and it's happening pace. You also have two structures between Sans Souci and Tower Heights that were constructed right on Eastern Road, a massive vacant lot behind it, but no work permit was ever constructed. So I think it's important for government in New Providence for persons, one, to look at environmental enforcement issues, at building enforcement issues, and also plan and make decisions on how capital grant funding should be spent either under the MP or structure.
Right.
It doesn't take much, I think, to make visible improvements, but it does take money. And with, I think it's been 13 or 14 billion that's been collected over the last 4 years. Where have you seen it come into your community? And as an MP, I know that I do my best to apply the capital grant money to improvement projects. But we could do more if we're given more is received by tax revenue. And that goes for St. Anne's, that goes for Carmichael, that goes for South Abaco, that goes for North Abaco, South Eleuthera, North Eleuthera. That goes for all of our constituencies. So we need increased funding for local government and our existing local government communities, family islands, and we need a level of local government to assist with regulatory and expenditure issues in our constituencies.
Yeah. Well, we know both the problem is local government for New Providence. They have for 5 to 10 years now.
Yeah.
Are we assured that we wouldn't hear what we heard from a previous F&M cabinet minister, that if we had local government in New Providence, what would we, the MPs, do? Is that type of thinking banished now, or are some still not getting it?
I don't speak for everybody, but I speak for myself. Somebody that thinks that their role can become obsolete is not applying to the extent that God's given them the grace to do so in their lifetime. And I will definitely find ways to assist any local government in my constituency or my district, however it's drawn up. And I will continue to represent as an elected member of Parliament the House of Assembly, which is where our salary really is compensated.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're running out of time. We've got the phone lines all lit up. I've got another guest. But let's take one more call as we talk with St. Anne's MP, Adrian Dwight. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Good morning to Mr. Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning.
I must say that, sir, I am grateful and I'm thankful for you giving up your time to come and talk about the issues, as well as allow callers to field their questions directly to you, sir. In having said that, I'm just going to piggyback on one of the previous callers who spoke to the Sovereign Wealth Fund. What is the F&M's position? As we can see, the Sovereign Wealth Fund has changed to the National Investment Fund. Bahamians still today don't understand what this fund is all about. I, in fact, don't know what's in the fund that is going to benefit the Bahamian people for the short or medium term or immediate term. Is the intention of the F&M government Sovereign Wealth Fund and actually put teeth into this fund so Bahamians can begin to benefit from our natural resources in the short term, or is it, or do you have on how to use the current framework of the National Investment Fund to yield significant returns for Bahamians? That's one. My second point would be, as far as immigration is concerned, seeing that you're sitting in opposition right now and hearing the cries of the Bahamian people, concerns for the sovereignty of our country, what is the F&M's position in terms of ensuring that the cries of the Bahamian people are heard, and there's going to be the actions that many persons are asking to is this also a concern of the F&M, and what is the plans for changing this for the benefit of our concerns as Bahamians? Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thank you very much, caller. The Sovereign Wealth National Wealth Fund, I don't think that there's anything in that right now. I think that it's sitting there waiting for something to be put in it, but we're still upping into the consolidated fund. So I hope that if anything was in there before, it's been applied to the proper ways. But the National Wealth Fund is a structure that is in the countries, and when we had our expectations of receiving, I think, 135 million per annum almost, or over the course of this current administration from carbon credits, which haven't materialized. That's where those funds would go. We also have funds coming in from our airspace, which are going into a separate fund, to my knowledge. But those are meant to be for the benefit of all people. So we really need to prioritize through the budget an amount on an annual basis that goes into the National Wealth Fund, and we need to see whether or not, by way of referendum or even not referendum, whether the country is interested in something that doesn't compete with the gaming industry, but provides another opportunity for Bahamians to make a donation to their society. And there always is someone that comes out with a little bit, but
that's your view, or that's the F&M?
That hasn't been discussed in depth, but I have heard it being raised. But as for right now, I would say that it's Adrian White's view. It's the view of a number of citizens. It definitely is something that has to be considered.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That was the National Lottery. I think the caller had one more issue on immigration. Yes. What we're also looking to do on immigration is limit approvals. That's something that's been represented by Michael Pintard in the press conference, and also disclose data. So Bahamians are right now having to make conclusions based on a lack of information, representations from members of the government that have made representations on what the status of our immigration crisis is right now. We would alleviate the Bahamians of that concern, because they would receive under the next F&M administration data on the number of persons that have applied, the number of persons that have been approved for different applications. And we would know as a nation how we're going, how we're progressing, and really have more of a debating in the management of it, because an informed citizenry can definitely make better public policy decisions than one or two members of a political party.
Right. Really quickly, final couple minutes. The Boundaries Commission, we're expecting that report
Soon.
Right? In the next few months. What do we hear? Are we looking at 40 plus constituencies? What's what will the next election hold?
You really need to ask the individuals close to the PLP side of it, because really being disclosed at these Boundary Commission meetings, and it's unfortunate, but what people are expecting is that there's going to be adjustments to several to try to favor the reelection of the current administration. There definitely has been talk of one more polling division being created. But
at least one.
One more constituency. Creating a constituency doesn't necessarily guarantee victory for the government, the Progressive Liberal Party in government now. And I think that everything they're doing is going to be done in a way that, in their opinion, would victory. But what they don't anticipate is the number of voters that stayed home in the last election. They're going to be returning to the polls, and they're going to be returning to the polls to exercise their democratic right, and that is being conveyed in a way to remove this government administration that has lost the confidence of the public.
Are we likely to go back to things we've tried to address in the past, independent boundaries commissions? Is that on the table for the
It should be. I haven't heard discussion of it yet, but there's no reason the F&M, from all of the policy decisions that I've heard from already, which are going to incorporate greater participation from the Public Commission, wouldn't be wise. No political party ever benefits from making adjustments to the boundaries. They always seem to get voted out. So having an independent boundaries commission, as independent as a body can be, a politically heightened climate in our country, would do as good of a job as a political party would. But it'll be a big step, because parties would then have to accept that they don't have control. That may sway a victory in their favor, even though, as I said, when you change the boundaries, you lose elections. There's no certainty of it. You just have your time to do the best for the people.
Yeah. I'm sure we could talk for a lot longer, but Adrian White, thank you so much for being here when you're on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dwight.
We're going to break for news, and we're going to get to SBDC. A lot of exciting things going on with them always. This is Morning Blend. Business coming up right after this.
Your solution for rising gas prices and expensive car maintenance has landed. Brand new 2026 electric vehicles from BYD have arrived at Easy Car Sales. Imagine no more gas and major savings. Let's drive a BYD EV today and save thousands with the car that redefines driving. Visit easy242.com for our 3 locations, in-house financing, and more. Easy Car Sales, the only authorized BYD dealer and warrant provider in the Bahamas.
Summer lasts forever at BWF. Beat the heat with unbelievable prices. Up to 50% off tent sales Saturday, September 27, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Deals, deals, and more deals. Red hot prices and cool buying this season with huge savings. Up to 50% off tent sales Saturday, September 27, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Savings includes fans, coolers, grills and griddles, kitchen and outdoor cooking supplies, household supplies, and much more. Shop now and save with BWF new store hours Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. BWF, we are more than just on the street. Check us out on Facebook and like our page to keep up to date with more exciting bargains. BWF, we ship to the Family Islands. Telephone 394-0004 or 6.
This is Guardian 9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Are you searching for something new? Something exciting? Your dream job in paradise? Well, look no further. Royal Beach Club Paradise Island is hiring. Join a dynamic group of passionate hospitality professionals, craft unforgettable moments, and thrive in a vibrant, welcoming atmosphere. Play your part in shaping the future of our team while growing your own career every day. Energy, your passion, and your creativity to a workplace that's as dynamic and fun as you are. At Royal Beach Club Paradise Island, the opportunities don't just exist. They're limitless. So are you ready to find your perfect fit? Visit Royal Beach Club at paradiseisland.com/career today and step into a world of exciting possibilities.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listener, Strachan, and it is time for our monthly series with SBDC, the Small Business Development Center. And this morning we were talking about the Young Entrepreneurship Academy, Young Entrepreneurs Academy. And here to guide us through it all, we're very pleased to have back with us Project Analyst Ariel Pinder. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hope all is doing well, all going well with you.
Yes, I am well. How are you?
Very well. Thank you very much. All right. So the Young Entrepreneurs Academy, remind folks what this is all about. And this is a recent launch, right?
Yes, we could have just launched on the 15th, and we have had overwhelming support for this program. So this program is similar to our other programs. This time we are focusing on young people. And that is between the ages of 18 and 35. And through this program, we are offering training, mentorship, networking, as well as access to funding for persons within this age category who are startup entrepreneurs or existing entrepreneurs who want to have that kind of entrepreneurial support. Of course, as always, this is completely free, and we are just so happy. 600 registrants so far. We had more than 400 registrants after like 2 days. So we have gotten a lot of support thus far, and we're excited to start executing this program.
Wow, that's very exciting. Okay, so 18 to 35. So are these aspiring entrepreneurs, or are these folks who already have started their own businesses, small, maybe even larger businesses?
Once you are a micro, small, or medium size, still in the idea phase, but you want to be an entrepreneur, you can go ahead and join this program. However, I will say you can take part in any of the opportunities through the program. If you are interested in getting that funding, you have to have your business license. That means if you don't have that business license, you need to start that process now.
Okay, all right. So let's get into the specifics. You mentioned it's similar to some of the other programs. So why would sign up for this one as opposed to some of the other things you're offering?
So I think this is really great for young persons because we've tailored the program specifically for them. So all components of the program were made with young persons in mind, especially when it comes down. We've gone through the survey that we did throughout the first cohort, and we found the weak points and the key areas that we really needed to focus on. And we decided to hone in on them for the training this time. Also with the mentorship. So we're partnering with Bahamas Chamber, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, specifically the Division of Youth, so that we can provide these resources and opportunities to these young persons, right? And we're going to have experienced entrepreneurs who already know the lay of the land throughout all the islands, to be mentors and guides throughout the program so that it can be a more relatable experience. And even with the networking, you're going to be exposed to other businesses, to persons on the Family Islands, persons in New Providence. Maybe they're in the same industry or sector as you. Maybe that can be a potential collaboration, a potential partnership. So we're forging these linkages, and we're going to encourage this type of connectivity throughout the program. And this is something that you can't necessarily do on your own on this scale, right? So like I said, we would have had 600 persons, and you're going to have access to all of these persons. You know, you can have your discussion posts and stuff like that, where you can discuss different ideas and talk about different things, bounce ideas. Have your intimate group, right? Your peer group, where you can go ahead and network with these persons. And like I said, just establishing those relationships that you probably would not have had if it weren't for this eye-opening experience.
Wow. Okay, so you started on the 15th. There's a great number of people who are interested. Is it too late for somebody who's just hearing about it now to be a part of this?
Now, unfortunately, we have reached our maximum. So we did not expect to have this much support for this program. To have over 400, I think it was like 442 persons registering after not even 48 hours of launching, that was exciting. And because of our limited resources, we did have to put a cap on it. So that's why we're maxed out at 600. So unfortunately, the registration is closed now. However, if you are still interested in the training opportunities or anything like that, if you still want to do just the training portion, maybe you still can reach out to us, and that's something that we can be able to accomplish.
Tell us more about that. How is that possible, and what would folks need to do?
All right, so the training is a 3-week, 6-module training course, and that is completely online. Of course, at the SBDC, we always want to make sure that everything we do is always online. So we have that completely online, and it's completely self-paced. So you can log on. It's on our Trainer Central platform, and you will receive the link to that. And once you receive the link, you'll have access to a business plan template. You'll have access to the different surveys. You'll have access to all of the modules, as well as some other templates like market research templates and stuff like that. They're already embedded into the training platform. So you can have access to all of those things and move through them at your leisure. So that's what that's about. And that's what we're going to be doing and focusing on throughout 3 weeks of the training course. And that starts on the 29th. That starts on Monday.
So there's a deadline, I can imagine, or what would they
Well, there is no necessary deadline.
Mhm.
There's not necessarily a deadline just because if it's only the training that you're interested in, then you can do that on your own pace.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. 100. What are we seeing there? Any patterns? Any trends? Are they how many from the Family Islands? More men than women, or what are you noticing?
So, based on what we've seen, and we've really focused on analyzing the family islands, we have a little under half that are representing the family islands. And what we would have done was we would have made sure that we had a strategic push on all of the family islands that we have offices on, as well as the family islands that we don't. So, we've had our family island advisors on the islands of Abaco, Grand Bahama, and they're hosting info sessions. When they have their events, they're mentioning the program because we really want to focus as well and give the same access to opportunity to our family island entrepreneurs and our young persons. We actually also have a school tour coming up on the island of Long Island, and that's going to be happening this week. This is something that we've been doing for about maybe a year now. We're going into the high schools and we're starting that kind of entrepreneurial thinking from a younger age so that when persons graduate high school, they can have a clearer understanding or, more of an idea of what they want to do in the future and understand that you can be successful in various ways. So you have different opportunities and different avenues in which you can achieve success. So that's what we're doing. And we have immense support in the islands. So we're very happy about that. And that's another reason why we always have to make sure that our programs are accessible, because we do want to always engage persons on the outer islands.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. So you mentioned it earlier, the grant that's talked about that and how applicants can access it.
Awesome. So the first thing is you have to be eligible for funding. A lot of persons think, okay, I see a grant opportunity, I just want to go ahead and grab it. That's not necessarily always the case. So you have to be eligible. So I'll give you the criteria of eligibility. The first one, you have to complete the training. Once you complete the training, you receive a certificate where you can upload that on the grant application form. You also have to be within the ages of 18 to 35. The business has to be majority young person owned. So let's say if it's a partnership, and if both of those persons or whoever is applying for the grant, 18 to 35, and they have to own at least 51% or more of the business. And that's if it's a two-person partnership. But essentially, the young person or the person applying for the grant must own majority or all of the business. Another thing is you have to attend the Entrepreneurs Speak. So that's our TED Talk style event, and that's the networking component for the entire program. As of right now, that date is October 14th, and that's in collaboration with the University of the Bahamas. And we're going to be speaking on how you can hustle smarter and not harder. Another eligibility requirement is attendance of the master classes. So during the training, we are going to host 2 virtual master classes, and they're going to be on the Thursdays of the first and second week of training. And attendance to those sessions are mandatory. We also have a survey that we ask you to fill out. And that survey is open now, and it's going to be open for a while until the of the grant application. But completing that survey is also a requirement. So it's a few things that you need to do to be eligible for funding. Once you have all of those out the way, it's time to gather the documents that you would need to upload on the grant application. The first one is the business license. I would have mentioned that earlier. The second is the business plan. I also mentioned that when we spoke about the training, because we do have the business plan template embedded in the training. And then you'll also need your invoices and wire instructions. You can get up to $10,000 in grant funding, but if you don't have enough invoices to back up your funding request, then we could only approve you for what you request. So you would have to go to, the vendor that you are interested in purchasing your inventory, supplies, equipment, whatever from, request an invoice, request their banking details to their business bank account, and then you can go ahead and apply now that you have all of the documents and you've met requirements. Now, we are going to be having an in-depth info session. We had the first one on the 17th, where we went over what a proper invoice looks like, everything you needed to know about the program, but we are going to be having another info session for those who are registered already in the program, understanding of how they can move throughout the grant application process.
Okay, so you can get up to 10,000. How many people could get up to 10,000? I mean, what are the numbers you're looking at on your side?
Well, that would depend on what everyone is requesting, and that would depend on the validity of the documents that you are requesting. So let's say, for example, someone only asks for, say, 3,000 or 4,000, then that means that, that's another opportunity for someone else to get maybe up to 3,000, 4,000, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really no telling as to can fund. It really depends on what our applicants are asking for.
Yeah. And at the end of all of this, what are you hoping the young entrepreneurs will really get out of this? What was the overarching goal?
The overarching support our entrepreneurs. But I think the biggest thing that entrepreneurs can get from this, and I mean all 600 and even persons who are just doing the training, is the knowledge and education that you can get from this training. A lot of persons say, I want to be a business owner. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be my own boss. I want to be self-made. But they lack the knowledge on how they can do that. And through this training, you will get all of the resources needed to scale your business to a different level. Maybe it's just a side hustle right now. Maybe you want to turn that into a profitable and scalable business. We can help you do that. I think the biggest thing that people need to understand is that that funding, and you don't know what to do with it. You don't have a plan in place. If you don't have structure in place, then there's no telling what you will do or where you will be in the near future. So that's what I really, really, really want persons to take away from this: the knowledge and resource as the collaboration and networking opportunities. Because let's say this is a very competitive program. Like I said, we have 600 persons, and the reality is we can't fund all 600 persons. However, the networking and the relationships that you can build throughout this program can help you gain opportunities in the future as well, right? So a lot of persons that say they get denied and they're like, I did the training for nothing. No, you didn't do the training for nothing. You gained a lot of valuable information that you likely wouldn't be able to get somewhere else for free. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that's the biggest takeaway, that the education, the resources, and the relationships that you will get and build throughout this program are invaluable, and they should not be taken lightly.
Yeah. So, Ariel, you say this is the first one with the success. You're going to do this again at some point.
Well, this is actually our second cohort.
The second cohort, okay.
So, yeah, this is the second cohort, and usually our programs run for about 3 years. So it's highly likely. It's probable that. But right now, we are focusing on making the second cohort the biggest one yet, because, we're always moving up, we're always scaling up, we're always increasing our efforts at the SBDC. So we want to make this one the biggest bang.
Excellent. Wow, that's great stuff. And it's a big time for the SBDC. You celebrated an anniversary recently, 7 years, right?
Yes, so the SBDC turned 7. That was on the 20th. Yes, wow. That was the weekend gone. So excited for that. Yeah, so I mean, we talk about it all the time. You can tell the impact has been great, but what would you say has been the greatest impact of SBDC over these 7 years? I think the greatest impact would be the ability to reach so many different people on so many different walks of life and still be able to assist them, to encourage them, and to impact them. I think that's the biggest thing. We've had persons on the Family Islands from Grand Bahama all the way down to Maguana who we've been engaging with. And for all of them to pull us aside and say, thank you so much. What you guys are doing is amazing. Please keep it up. Just to have that kind of really, and to experience that firsthand, I think that's amazing. To be able to focus on different minority groups, like women, like persons in the orange economy who don't always have access to these kinds of opportunities, I think that is just by far the biggest thing for me. Mm-hmm. Wow. So what's next as we march to the 10th anniversary in just a few years? What's next for SBDC? So, the SBDC, we are always moving forward. We're always moving up. We're always escalating. So we have a lot of things in store. Moving towards year 10, But even looking at the immediate future, even looking at the next few months, more exciting programs coming up. And something that is very exciting, and I will say this, at SBDC, we're always closing the gap. So we're making sure that entrepreneurs always have that access. And a new program that we've even come up with is the micro loan program. So that's closing the gap between our maximum grant funding and our guaranteed loan program. So we are definitely providing that access to entrepreneurs throughout every step of the way in every process. And that program is launching soon, very soon. And through that program, you can get between $10,000 and $80,000 in loan funding with a fixed interest rate, a low fixed interest rate. And, just like all of our programs, we're walking you through the process. We're assisting you every step of the way, and we're ensuring that you get the guidance and all of the resources that you need. So, stuff like that, we're always on the go. We're always curating more things to help entrepreneurs in the Bahamas. Upcoming, we're having our women's entrepreneurs again. So this is going to be the third and final cohort of the Women's Entrepreneurs Initiative. That's launching this year as well. Wow. We also have our Men in Business going to be launching again, right? So even as we look towards the future, even farther than 10 years, 15 years, 20, 50, right? We're always going to be scaling and curating more things for entrepreneurs to be able to benefit from.
Excellent. And I'm sure you all will tell us more about the microloan program closer to the launch. And great to hear that. All right. So remind folks how they can find out more information about everything to do with SBDC and Tingzi and everything else that you have going on.
Oh my gosh, yes. So you can connect with us. We are on all of our social media. So that's LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram as SBDC Bahamas. And our website is sbdcbahamas.com. On our website, you can find more information about all of the programs that we've hosted in the past, as well as more information on the Young Entrepreneurs Academy and anything we have going on there on our website. And we are also always onboarding more vendors for Tingzi. And if you are a Bahamian and you're interested in shopping locally, feel free to go on our website, Tingzi Bahamas. That's TINGSEA Bahamas.com, where you can shop local products from fashion, jewelry, home decor, anything that you need for your personal use, or maybe if you want to gift it to somebody, right? So we are supporting local brands, we're supporting local small businesses, and we're giving them that platform so that they can have that kind of access. If you're interested in being a vendor on the Tingzi platform, feel free to reach out to us. Our number is 461-7232, 461-7232. We're always here, we're always available, and we want to hear from you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Much appreciate you, Ariel Pinder, project analyst with the Small Business Development Center. Thank you for being here with us this morning.
Yes, thank you so much.
And good luck to everybody in the Young Entrepreneurs Academy. Keep up the great work. Hopefully we'll meet some of them before the end of this cohort. That would be great.
Yes, most definitely.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot. We're going to take a break to wrap and then be back to wrap things up. This is Morning Blend Business on a Tuesday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's the Ashai Institute, BEMC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there, the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clocks and Island Lock, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
Looking for insurance that fits your lifestyle and your budget? At Star General Insurance, we've got you covered. Whether it's motor insurance with flexible options for third liability and comprehensive coverage, or commercial insurance products that protect your business, we have choices you can afford. Own a home or renting? Our home insurance products have we offer marine insurance too. Visit our website or social media pages for contact information and quotes. Star General, insurance made simple.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want. In uncertain times, resilience is everything. That's why CFAL is inviting you to the financial services event of the year, the 2025 CFAL Pension and Economic Conference. It all happens Thursday, October 16th at 8 a.m. at the Grand Hyatt Baha Mar Convention Center. Under the theme Resilience in the Face of Global Uncertainty, this half-day conference is your chance to gain powerful insights on navigating today's shifting global economy. This is the premier networking and knowledge-sharing event of the year, and you cannot afford to miss it. So secure your spot today at www.cfal.com.
It is time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL. Labor Division Head of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, Peter Gowdy, telling Guardian Business that the Chamber needs the latest information from the Bahamas National Statistical Institute, the BNSI, in order to make an informed judgment on an increase to the national minimum wage. Gowdy, responding to the Minister of Public Service and Labor, Pia Glover-Roll's comments that the government will move forward with an increase in the minimum wage in a responsible way, said that he's encouraged by Roll's approach to the possible increase and sees her comments positively. Who was also a board member for the National Tripartite Council, says, quote, "We don't have good new information from the BNSI, so we don't really have the information we need to even look at it. We're not going to use old information to try and extrapolate into what it is now." Both the Chamber and the Tripartite Council would need up-to-date labor force surveys, cost of living surveys, and wage surveys completed by the BNSI, so they'd have the up-to-date information. Meanwhile, the chairman of the National Productivity Task Force says it will be looking at improving work conditions for employees across the country via improving the levels of efficiency and output. Edison Sumner telling Guardian Business that the new task force was agreed upon by the government and the International Labor Organization in 2017 as part of the ILO's Decent Work Country program. It was initially engaged by the government in 2019 to be part of the task force to help conduct the public sector work and public engagement for the establishment of the National Productivity Council. He says that after nearly a decade of groundwork, it was left up to the Department of Labor to implement a strategy. Read more of this in today's Guardian Business section. Lawyer Ramal Ferrer for Over Yonder Key Development submitting an appeal to the Subdivision Development Appeal Board in March over the granting of site plan approval for the Integra Group for its Rosewood Exuma project on Sampson Key, citing a substantively flawed and defective procedure for the public hearings regarding the Rosewood project. In the appeal seen by Guardian Business, Ferreira, on behalf of Over Yonder, contended that Integra's plans differed from those made available to the public, that despite objections, no further consultation was had, and that the decision is in contravention of the Town Planning Committee rules. More on that in today's Guardian Business section. And Cable Bahamas revealing that it has resumed its quarterly dividend program, noting that its move reflects CBL's strong outlook. It explained that a quarterly dividend program was approved by the board because the company's investment in its fiber-to-home network on New Providence is substantively complete, and that the growth of its mobile services arm, Alive, is reaching maturity. The company says the upcoming dividend payment for shareholders will be at 8 cents for the first quarter for financial year 2026. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Consolidated Water closing at $6.89, up 17 cents. Emira Incorporated up 4 cents, closing at $11.37. The BISX All Share Index closing at 3,047.31, up 0.21. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. That is going to do it for us today. I'll be back tomorrow with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas.